Hello, hi there. Today I just want to talk about sovereignty. What is sovereignty? And so I'm gonna try and do this a little bit quickly because I'm kind of pressed for time here. I just thought I'd do this short video. Now, it's important that we all understand what sovereignty is. Now, the decree of the sovereign makes law. Okay, so when you go to court, it is very important that you understand that you're sovereign and you're in a sovereign capacity. Okay, and so if you decide, and so in court, what you have to understand is you get all your paperwork before you go to court. You have all your paperwork must be in court, or it must be there, presented on the table. It must already be there, or everything has to be filed in court already. Okay, um, because when you go to court, you're not going to court to argue any point. All your arguments and all that what you all you that which you want to tell the court is already in your paperwork. Um, the only reason why you go into court is so that the court can ask you to clarify any points that they may not understand. And most of the time, the judges and the solicitors or the lawyers are not trained in common law. So they may want to ask you about your paperwork because most of the solicitors or the lawyers will not understand your paperwork. Okay, so that's the only reason you do not go to court and speak. You do not open your mouth at their, sorry, not in court, at their court. Okay, when you go, if you're issued a summons to appear, and you go at their court, you never want to go in their court. You only appear in your own court. And what is a court? A court is a suit, and a court is is the um, a court is where the sovereign performs to convince his subjects. It's the suit and subject of the sovereign. Okay, it's where he goes to convince everybody that he's right and everybody else is wrong. Okay, so he has to put up a good performance. Okay, so so it is important, when you go to court, it is your court. If you go to if you as a sovereign goes using the common law now, is summons to appear, you get a summons to the post, and you go and you appear at their court, never in their court, at their court. um, what you then do is you make sure that whatever decision is made by the magistrate or the administrator of that court, which is the magistrate, it's is not he's not making any decision on your behalf. You overrule him. You object. And by objecting, I mean, I already said you don't speak in court or at court. But what you then do is to, if they ask you any questions, though you should not recognize their artificial capacity by answering, but what you could do is to simply say, all my paperwork, I've answered this court properly, or it's all in my paperwork right in front of you. Or that the court is invited to have a look at my paperwork, or that it may please the court to have a look at my paperwork. But you never order the court to do anything, and you never say to the magistrate, you. You never say you, and you lot. No, because you don't want to take it personal because he has no interest in the matter. He's not a party of interest. He's get paid by the bar association. Although he works for them and against you, pretty much he's just the administrator of the court to make sure that the proceedings are gone according to law and order. So he's not particularly a party of interest. Now, you never want to be a defendant. You always want to be a claimant. See, you're making a claim. Even if somebody makes a claim against you, you have to make a claim against them. Okay? You're never doing a counterclaim. Forget about that, because nobody else on the other side is claiming. Unless there's another man or woman that's claiming against you, it cannot be a counterclaim. There's no such thing, because only a man can make a claim. So if a business is coming after you, they can't make a claim. They can only make a complaint. So as a sovereign, in your sovereign capacity of self-governing, and the decree of the sovereign makes law, The sovereigns do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies that serve them. By agencies, I mean the officers and the courts and so forth. So if the police officer should stop you, you have to remind him that he's a servant and you're in your sovereign capacity, and the servant cannot dictate or order the sovereign to do anything because they're the servant. It is very, very important that you give this information to them. Another thing I would like to touch on is, what I will do, I'll produce a CD that will show you all the paperwork necessary to bring yourself to present yourself when you appear in court, when you'll be present at court, okay, or in your court if you summons them. I will produce all the paperwork necessary. I don't want to overshoot my time here, but I'll produce all the paperwork necessary, and so that people can have a better understanding in terms of procedure, what to do and what not to do when they appear at court or in their own court. If you are summoned to appear, you don't want to go in their court, but you're at their court. If you summon somebody to appear or business to appear or whatever, they appear in your court. So they will appear in the knight's court. My last name is Knight, and they will appear in the knight's court. But if I go to their court, I'm appearing at their court. And when you go at their court, it's important you don't say anything, because you have no authority to say anything in open court, because it's not your court. The judge will perform thus, as he is the sovereign of his court, and he has no other way to perform, and he will dictate all the rules, and he'll pretend like he's in charge in your first appearance. Remember that your first appearance is not your court. If they summons you to appear at their court, it is not your court. You do not speak, because it's not a common law court of record. I will go on in subsequent videos to come to explain what a common law court of record is and the criteria, so that you know if you're in a common law court of record or not. Not because they're recording it doesn't mean it's a record. It's a court of record. Okay, it has to meet certain criteria for it to be a court of record. But in subsequent, I don't think I have enough length in this video, so in subsequent videos to come, I'll do that one. So as I said, I'll produce a CD. Don't worry about it. I'll produce a CD with all the documentation necessary, how to write everything, how to do your 4-year form, how to answer the court, etc., how to do a summons, etc., etc. Now the other thing I would like to briefly touch on is the stop. It is important if an officer in uniform stops you, or the man or woman acting in the capacity of officer stops you, it is important that you don't get aggressive, raise your voice, or do anything that will make him then be on the right side. Because the moment he puts the emergency light on, it's forced imprisonment, because you're not allowed to leave. So you're forced imprisonment right away. Okay, it's called forced imprisonment. And then if he goes on to order you out your vehicle and put the cuff on you and manhandle you and search your pocket without your consent, is battery and assault. So you get him on all the whole degree, the old three musketeers of them. You see, battery and assault and forced imprisonment. So it's very important also when you don't try to fight back, because I see some videos out there and people are quite upset sometimes when they're manhandled by officers in uniform. But it's very important that you understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. You don't have to say anything to them. You don't have to give your name, don't have to give your address, because that's joinder. The moment you give your name and address, is called joinder, and therefore it's got to be you. The moment you confirm all those. Now you can confirm all those, because, as I say, the sovereigns never yield their sovereignty to the agencies that serve them. So, of course, you can give up all your details without giving up your sovereignty as well, as long as you make them know that you're in your private capacity as an individual, as a man or a woman. Okay. Now, of course, they will. So, of course, it's very important that you don't be abusive or kicking or spitting or shouting at the officers. After the stop and whatnot and so forth, then you can deal with that. You can claim for damages. But it's also very important that during the stop you have your cameras out. You record the incident, because you will need it as a second witness, as you can prove that is what happened. Because in quote is he say is he say is hearsay, is he say she say he say no. You need to be able to prove that this is what happened. So get your cameras out, and they can't prevent you from filming because they're in the public, and they're public servants, and public servants have they have no privacy, and and you can film them, and you can film yourself, and you can film in public, and they cannot take your cameras away. So it's very important to get the cameras rolling. If you're stopped immediately, you must video the whole incident as the second witness. Okay. Now, another thing I would like to, and as I say, be courteous to the officers. And there are two types of officers. There are two types of enforcement agents. There's a policeman who works for the people, and there's a police officer. The police officer is a revenue collector. He goes out there punting every day to see if he can give you a ticket fine or some charges that some levy you're gonna put on you to pay. Now, so it's very important you also realize that in your sovereign capacity, you also another point I'd like to touch on is the difference between a republic and a democracy. You see, on the jury, if one person objects, the case is thrown out. So that's a republic. In a republic, okay, 100% of people has to agree that that color is green. Because if we all don't agree that that color is green, we can't communicate. Because some people will agree with some. If you got a quarter of the people, one third of society, say for instance, agreeing that that color is red, and 3/4 of the society, or 90% or 99% of society, or 99, say 99% of society, or 90% of society agrees that that color is yellow, and the other 10% agree that and doesn't agree, then you can't communicate. Because if one person writes yellow, you don't know who writes it, and then you don't know what to interpret it as, red or yellow. So that is democracy. 100% republic. 100% of the people has to agree. That's common law. 100% of people has to agree. The jury of 12 members of your peers has to be 12. Grand jury is 25. The members of your peer 12 has to agree that we all have to be in the same level. That color is what we all agree it is. 100% of us has to agree. It's not like in a democracy where 50-50. So 51% wins and the other 49% has to back down. Or 48%, and this is very important as well. So you got 48% agrees, and you get another 48% disagrees, and the other 2 or 4% in between, the other 4% in between can swing the vote either way. So you get a Democrat or a Republican or a Labour or a Lib Dem and so on, and either way, the 4% in the middle can swing the vote. Okay, I know not a lot of people would be interested in what I'm saying, because I find that most of the young people these days are a lost cause. They're more caught up in the trivial things, the X Factors and Dancing on Ice and the East End and all the other Holloway programs and so on and so forth. And most of these radio stations, all they are good for is acting as a barometer, so that they can tell the heads up there what the mood of the public is. They're just gauging instruments. So you get one person come on LBC. I understand from an individual who told me that they say that one person come and say that white people don't like brown people, and this is just to throw the word out there. So if you throw mud, some will stick, and before you know it, one or two people will be not liking you because you've got a brown skin and a beard. And then you find most of the people, you see, you get one of them start to do this, like I call them my flamingo friends. One of them start to do this, and then others start to follow, and before you know it, it's a sad state of affair where people on the street corner are paid by others, maybe the council, maybe the government, or all those little demons, little goblins that run these little stations and offices. You get these little gargoyles. They will pay people to do all kind of wicked things and say all kind of wicked things on these radio stations. Most of them are controlled by the same demons that run these various institutions, including half of the government. So that's the problem. The problem is that you got a lot of followers out there, and people can't think. So you're either a sovereign or you're a slave. If you're a citizen, you're a slave, and if you're a sovereign, you're one of the people. So you have to decide which one are you. You can't be a citizen and a sovereign at the same time, because there's no such thing as a master slave. You can't be a master slave. You're either a slave or you're a master. You're either a master, which is a sovereign, or a servant, which is a slave or a citizen. The people controls the government controls the citizens, or owns the citizens. So the citizens have no right, they only have privileges. So the government licensed them to do this, licensed them to privilege them to do that. They are privileged to have this and get this benefit, get that benefit. They're privileged to park there and park here. They have no right to park there. But the people has a right to park there. But the citizens don't have a right to park there because it's a privilege. So they have to pay for the privilege. But the people can just go and park there because they're the sovereign. And the sovereign decree of the sovereign is law. Okay? So that's the difference. So it's a very sad state of affairs when people are paying people to stand up in various, because they know when you're coming, they're tracking your Oyster card, they're tracking your credit card, because all of them are little microchips in them. They're also tracking your phone, so they know when you're coming in, they know when you're going, they listen to you. And why you think they invent a phone, you can't take the battery out. You can't take the battery out. It's like the old phone, you could take the battery out and it's dead. These ones you can't take the battery, and even if it looks like it's dead, it still maybe have 10% of battery life in there. It's just not available to you. It's available to somebody else though. And that's the problem. The other day happened at a big row with the Secret Service about the hacking the phones and taking people's information without their consent. Now they said either they have a tacit agreement, a wink and nod, or they're just good at getting past the wizards that work in Apple. But I rather doubt that's the case. It's full cooperation. Otherwise, we shut you down. So it's a bit like that. I've suffered the wrath of these people myself, where they kind of disrupt a lot of my daily activities. And of course, they have to remember that people create a government to protect the rights and property of man and not to infringe on it. And therefore, nobody appreciate. You see, I'm not at war with the government. I don't want to war with the government. Oh, we're going to World War III with these people and blah, blah, blah. If they want it, we'll bring it on. No, no, no. I'm not into all that nonsense. I just want them to leave me alone and to leave us alone. Right? Don't infringe on our rights and don't try to take away our property along with it. A great man once says that no people can be ignorant and free at the same time. Another great man says that great men are governed by reasoning. Reasoning. Lesser men by experience, and the beast by nature. Another great artist, Bob Marley, I think he says, free your mind from mental slavery, because none but ourselves can free our minds. Don't stand on the road corner doing that because somebody pay you to look like you have maggots in your head standing like a flamingo. It's not going to work. Worse with somebody like me, you will not stare me down, or you can't face me, not at all, because I really don't beg friend. And all I'm saying is that I'm not asking for friendship, and I'm not asking for recognition. What I'm asking for is that all I would like to hope is that we can listen to a bit of useful information that can help us to protect our rights and property. You see, you'll never hear what I'm telling you about the common law and natural rights, and what is the difference between citizen and sovereign, and the difference between a democracy and a republic, and so on. You'll never hear this, our civics lesson, that philosophy, branch of political philosophy that has to do with the rights, your personal rights. You'll never hear this on the BBC or LBC or all the other programs that are controlled by the little goblins that destroy our society little by little and take away our rights. You will never hear this kind of thing on those programs, because you will never hear somebody go on the BBC and talk about common law and how to protect your rights and how to protect your property. Because if they did that, nobody would be paying for council tax and parking and this and that, and those unnecessary burdens that every year they come out with thousands and thousands of statutes and code, and nobody knows what they're for. Before you know it, every day that's a new charge, and that's a new charge, and you pay to park in front of your house, and pay to park there, and pay to drive there, and pay to do this, and pay to go to the hospital. And before you know it, our NHS, we have to pay to use it, and go to the GPs used to be free. Now we have to pay to go to see the doctors. You'll already get £1,200 a day, some if not more, maybe a little less some, and they're going to charge you to see him now. And they're going to charge you to use the NHS, and they're going to charge you to drive you, and they're going to charge you to park. And the sad reality of it is, if you pay, you can park. But if you can park as long as you want, as long as you can pay the charge. But if you can't pay, you can't park. So it's all about the money. Why not just come and put some lines there and say that, number 99, and use the discretion. It's that door number 99, and therefore door number 99. Just use your discretion. Somebody doesn't see anybody park there, he parks there. If I go and I see somebody not park using a bay, I just park there. You can't pay. It's not a privilege that we all don't have privileges in using the road. We all have a right. Wherever I go, I park because it's not a privilege. It's a public road. If I want to go up to the city there, drive up there. Who's going to stop me? If I want to, so I know the councils don't like me. The Westminster Council don't like me. The Croydon Council, the Southwark Council, the Kensington, Chelsea Council. None of them like me because they can't get a copper from me because, of course, I'm not going to pay to park anywhere. If I see a space and I'm not injuring or causing any harm or loss to my fellow man, I'm going to park there. But who's going to claim I do wrong? I'll bring him in. I'll like to see him. That's all I ask. So all I would like is that these people leave us alone. So they don't like me telling you this information. And pretty soon I'll, as I say, will produce a CD. And this CD will have all the information you need regarding how to present yourself at court and in court, how to prepare your court papers, and how to get all these necessary bits and pieces done before you go to court, how to prepare your paperwork, how to do your FOIA form, your Freedom of Information Access request, and how to get your deletion of certain malicious information they might put in the system, how to clean up your credit score, how to get a lot more stuff done. Okay, so I'll do all that in the CD. So I just thought that how to share this information with you regarding sovereignty. It's very important that I did also another video. Is the job center a bank? Because instead of giving you what you're entitled to, they seems to be lending you loans these days. That's all you ever get from them. The other thing I'd like to touch on as well is I also did other videos on YouTube regarding Jamaicans, and the fact that 80% to 85, 84 to 85% of Jamaicans is from the representing the Caribbean lot. 84% of the prison population is Jamaicans, but where the Caribbean lot is concerned, the whole Caribbean, 84%, if not more. And the reason why that is that most of Jamaicans don't know their rights, and they can't protect it. If you don't know your rights, you lose it. No people can be ignorant and free at the same time. Ignorance and freedom cannot coexist. You're either ignorant and stupid and lose all your rights, or you know your rights and able to protect your property along with it. 84% of the prison population in that Caribbean lot is Jamaican. So I did that video as well and asked the question why. And the question, most of the answer is it comes from the fact that the prison industry is a very lucrative business. It costs £40,000 a year. If you go and watch that video, I have it on YouTube and on my website. My website is www.commonlawsolution.org. If you go on that website, you will see many of my videos there. I do a lot of videos, and I do a lot of videos on YouTube as well. You can check out my YouTube channel. Okay. That just type in my name, Ferdinand Knight, and you will see it come up. Now, most of the prison industry is a very big business. It costs £64,000 a year to drag you off the street and lock you up for most of the time for no good reason. £64,000 off the street, straight to the cell. How much people it takes to do that? If everybody gets, £64,000 breakdown over 80, so but it's still over £700. I'm not saying each individual will get that. I'm just saying that if you should look at it like that for the private prison industry, they're all there for profit, and they all break it down like that. So if each of them get that kind of number, then it's a very good business to do. And then another £40,000 a year to say £105,000 just to take the man off the street and keep him in a little 4x4 disgraceful urine stain, got a awful food or swine food that they give you in that place, where they put all kind of microphone, radio wave, microwave, push it down, which I have, I have somewhat experienced some time back, where they beam down these radio waves and microwaves, and they want to kill you in the cell. See, and God knows they all got awful food they give you in there, and God knows if I don't even want to know they prepare it or cook it, because God knows they spit in. I don't know. I don't even want to go up. I don't even want to know how they prepare the thing. It was disgraceful, to say the least. And half the time you're there for no good reason, and they'll bang you up in that place day in day out. They'll lock up the poor Jamaican man who smoke a little something on the side. And because he doesn't know his rights, and to tell him that is my business, he keeps running away thinking that he's doing something unlawful or wrong. And he can't tell him this because he doesn't know the law. He doesn't know the difference between what is lawful or legal. He doesn't know what is man or people or person or rights or property. He thinks he's a person, he's a man or a woman, and that's the problem. So, of course, I do a lot of videos regarding those kind of information. As I say, in subsequent videos to come, what I'll do, I'll produce this CD that has a lot of that has a lot more information regarding exactly what you do and the procedures of court. Okay. Well, I don't want to keep this too long. As I say, my website is www.commonlawsolution.org. My email address is commonlawsolution@gmail.com. My contact number is 0757746270. If you want to send me a message on the if you want to if you want to send me a message on the old WhatsApp there on the microphone, I'll be happy to hear your your questions and answer them and upload them onto the website so that others can hear the various answers to the various questions asked. Okay, I encourage everybody to let their voice be heard. And as I say, it's very. I think this I hope that you don't have to like me or you don't have to like my beard and my brown skin and all that. I'm not asking for friendship. I'm not asking everybody to like me. All I'm saying is that if we all could be in a position where we can protect our rights and our property, if we all can do it, because if it happens to me, it can happen to you, and it can happen to him and everybody else. And sooner or later, all of us will be in the same boat together where we all will find our rights and properties taken away. Once the people who own the land, now it's a privilege. Now, if you find one person that own a part of the land, you're lucky because he's not privileged to own it. And the land belongs to the people at once until they always swap them over now for citizenship and then give them privileges. But those who know that they're the people still has rights and can claim everything. So you have to decide whether you're one of the people or you're just a citizen or a resident or a domicile. Okay. No, as I say, for those thanks, grateful for all the support from those who support the program and the cause, and for those who are just joining, of course, welcome. And I hope you all could get on board, and particularly the young people. We all could get into this business of protecting our rights and our property and learning the common laws. I say you won't hear this on the BBC or the LBC or the other vicious programs that goes out there and talking about who hates people and all that, and hoping that a few mod will stick so that everybody else can turn against everybody else. As a famous boxer once says, I think it's classy as Claire, Muhammad Ali, whichever you prefer. He says that when he was ordered to go and go to the army and go to other countries to fight, he says that those people have done nothing to me. I've never seen them before. Why am I going there to kill these yellow people and they have done nothing to me? And sometimes I'm wondering if that's the reason why most of the young people don't join the forces today, is because maybe they just don't see a reason that whose war they're fighting and who's funding it, and who's paying for all these war debt and destruction, and what's the consequence of it, and what's the result. All these refugees crossing borders and all these people coming across, and they never was coming across if there was no problem there. But all of a sudden, their countries have been, erupting war. Nobody knows who are funding these wars, and nobody knows why all these people are dying and all the suffering they're showing you on the television. Nobody's saying who is really causing it. So most of our young people now, instead of putting on a uniform and go take orders to kill other people in other lands that people they know nothing about, never seen before, they rather put on their clothes on the weekend and go and have a drink and have a good time, and maybe even watch X Factor when they come back. Just something to distract them. But most of maybe that's why we have so many problems, with recruits these days. So that's the problem. But anyway, I hope that, as I say, they definitely don't like me. The council don't like me. The government don't like me telling you this kind of information. But I will not stop. And of course, they really can't raise me. So because I'm not one to beg friends or I'm not begging anybody anything. I'm just trying to get everybody aboard where everybody can learn how to protect their rights and property. As I say, if it happens to me, it can happen to you. And the more all of us is able to protect our rights and property, the better it is for all of us. Well, I want to bid you all farewell, and I hope that I was able to shed some light on this. In subsequent videos to come, we'll do a lot more paperwork and court cases, and I'll give you a lot more scenarios, what to do and what not to do, words to say, what not to say, and which website you can go and find what information. Okay? God bless you all. You take care and have a good weekend.